Edward here from earviewer.com. I have another video for you. This is the first session I've done in a while. I've had to put remote viewing in the back burner for the focus on work, but I'm starting to get my head back in the game, and that's what this session was about. Was just to kind of get back to where I'm at in my work with what I like to call perceptual expressionism or remote viewing. And so going into this, again, I'm getting myself back into the space of the core processes, the mental processes, the nucleus, the second reality, the state in which these inputs exist in, which I will forever be after, the search for what state, or what is the nature, what state do these inputs exist in. I've been exploring and trying to wrap my head around this idea called string theory and superstring theory. I've been watching some documentaries about it. It's just so mind-blowing, and I don't know how it all relates. I have no idea. I'm just an explorer. I'm just exploring, but something about it triggers something, and I'll just keep exploring with it. So anyway, that's what I was going into this session with. I was to re-familiarize myself with it, get my head back in the game with my work, what I'm doing. The target, again, I'm blind to all these targets. Online database, I'm completely blind to every target. The target was this Hubble photograph of a galaxy in deep space. Cool target. But what happened in this session, as I'm getting back into this, and here I come upon this target, and I'm getting some shape forms coming in. This barrier shape that you can matches the outer barrier of this galaxy and all that kind of stuff. And that's no big deal. But the interesting thing to me is as I'm going through this, it was just such a complex target that I just had to throw my hands up in the air and say, this is so complex. That this target is so complex, I can't go into much more of it. So that's what was interesting to me, is to know that as remote viewers or people who go into these things, we want to learn, we want to explore, how we are able to process these things, how we interact with the universe, how we interact with the fabric of the universe. And just attempting to comprehend or understand any of this stuff, and knowing that at the threshold and below the threshold of awareness, beyond the threshold is a whole nother the majority of the aspect of who we are exists below the threshold of awareness, and that's just all there is to it. The majority of who we are, what is who we are above the threshold of awareness. This little personality that we are is nothing compared to who we are below the threshold of awareness. That's where the vast majority of our being exists, and so that communication that communication that I was experiencing was, this target is too complex, it's too big, and I just don't have the time to go into it. And so that's what I enjoyed most about this session. Was just to have that experience. And so that's what this is about. Many more to come. There's so much to explore. There's just so much to explore. We're just scratching the surface on this. And again, for me, it's not about being able to tell you all about this and that and all the other thing. My whole purpose in this is to explore how we interact with, how we are part of the fabric of the universe. In this second reality and all the other realities, infinite realities that exist. That's what I'm in it for. That's what keeps me going, is this human experience. So I hope you find that interesting, and many more to come. String theory. 9415, round, big, flat, tubular, inside, yellow. The first idea, I'm going to put it down here, idea is that it's a complex target, or there's complexity. What does that mean? That means that my first processed response, mental process response, is that it's very complex, and this is very generic, but it's like there's a lot of all these things there. This is an image comparator, or an idea of complexity. Complexity, an idea of complexity. That's what all these, just all that represents is not necessarily that there's a bunch of X's at the website or at the target site or the point in time and space. It's complex, you know, like a lot of parts or stuff or things. Complex. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to it. Metallic. Round. Getting a random, this feels like a random thought of a boat. That has random thought feel to it. 9415. Smooth. Moist. Brown. Glassy. Silver. Dimpled. Green. Blue. Silver. Yellow. This word coming in is kind of a, this is like a flanking. So this feels kind of random, but also as an idea. Flanking, a flank. Like a barrier. Just give me memory comparisons of a barrier reef. Yeah, but that kind of thing. That kind of thing. Like a barrier or a barrier reef. Yeah. Flank. This is what I mean. Flanking. Like a barrier, like a barrier. A barrier. Barrier's not. Like what else? What are the other words for barrier? Let me look at barrier. What are other words for this? Like, just throw them out there. A fence, a wall, a moat, a moat. But it has like these things in it. Things in it. And I'm getting this kind of idea, comparator, of like pieces of glass. Pieces of glass, you know, they're kind of like that, kind of. like pieces of glass. Like pieces of glass. The idea. They're like pieces of glass. Or something like that. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. You know, it kind of reminds me, like, of a fence. Yeah, I've seen like it's like a fence type of wrap, like a fence wrap with rocks in it. I've seen that before. It's like rocks are inside of this metal fencing. Yeah. I like to say these are rocks. And there's this metal fencing that holds them together. Something like that. Something like that. This feels tubular. You know, it's like this kind of tube thing. Tubular. And with the idea of held in place. Held in place? Held in place? You know, it feels like it's in front of, like it's in front of something. In front of something, you know. Another compare is like a bumper on a car. A bumper on a car. That's the image I'm getting. Image I'm getting from that. In front of, but this idea here. This idea in front of, and that's like the barrier reef is in front of an island or something like that. A bumper's in front of a car. But this thing in front of something is what's over here? What is, I don't want to say on the other side, because I don't know if that's what that means. On the other side. What's here? What is here? I don't like that positioning, but let me try this. So let's say we have this here, however that end goes. Yeah, this thing here. I don't like that. I cannot work with that. Let's say something like that. Something like that. And what's here? flat, dense, green, moving, okay, yellow, outside, dense, flat, angular, large, greasy, greasy. This is giving me a comparator of hamburgers. Greasy, spotted, bright, close up, close up. Close up. What is the... Am I getting... there is an emotional sensation to this. Because I'm getting this feeling like I'm hitting this, you know. That's not an emotional sensation, but it's some different tangible sensation. Like I'm hitting this barrier. Well, hitting it or coming upon it. I'm coming upon it. You know. Fortress. Yeah. In front of. In front of. You know. This in front of here. The shape form. There's some shape. Some type of shape behind this. This is giving me memory comparisons of a person's face. A person's face. It's very complex. Many aspects. Many aspects here. There's many aspects here. I'd have to go into all of them. I'm not really wanting to do that. I don't want to go into all the aspects here because it feels like there are many. So I'm focusing on one, which is this thing here, which is in front of, which is an idea. A barrier, which is an idea. A face plate, you know, something like that. A border, something along those lines, like pieces of glass or something. Now, what do I mean by pieces of glass? Meaning like there's some type of reflective element. A reflective element. Like there are jagged parts. You know, that kind of thing. That's what I mean by that. That's like where the barrier reef thing is. Kind of comes from there. This, oh man, see, when I'm going over here, it feels so complex that I don't even want to get started with it. What about an emotional sensation? You know, I mean, kind of like an AA is this kind of feeling of hold off, or hold back. That doesn't really feel right, but it's like a restriction. A restriction, or, you know, like, I can't go, sectioned off. I'm sectioned off. This is giving me a memory comparison of like a red carpet thing, you know, like the celebrities or they can't get through the little barrier thing and that kind of thing. But that's based off of an emotional sensation that I'm attempting to define. Attempting to define it. Reflective. You know, shimmering. That kind of thing. But that's what I'm drawn into. My emotional sensations about it. Either it's boring to me or there's not much for me to really think about, but there is a sense of like I feel like I'm held back or I'm coming up against something. You know, which is kind of the emotional sensation would be kind of how I feel if I'm being restricted or confined, a little kind of annoyed. Annoyed, I guess, would be the emotional sensation. Like I'm not, like I can't, I'm not allowed past it, something like that. I don't want to go too far into that. Because that's a little wishy-washy. I feel like I'm hitting this thing. Just give me comparators of like a punching bag. You know. Or football. These are comparators, you know. The physicalness of it. There's a physicalness. You know, from hitting it, or bouncing off, or something like that. All right, that's about all I got time for.